Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about troubled debt restructuring. Actually, the troubled debt restructuring is one in which the creditors allows the debtor certain concession. We are going to allow debtors certain concession. Why? Because debtor is facing financial difficulties, and which kind of concession creditors might give to the debtors. Maybe creditors can reduce the interest rates, or maybe creditors can reduce the principal amount, or maybe he can forgive the accrued interest, or maybe he can reduce the interest, accrued interest. So these are the concessions which might be offered by the creditors to the debtors. Why we need to give this concession? Because as a creditor, our objective is to maximize the recovery of the debt. If maybe you will not grant these concession, maybe you will not recover the amount of debt. So guys, the TDRs, the trouble debt restructuring, it has overall two I mean to say types. The first type is what it is called, maybe settlement of the debt in full. Maybe the creditor is going to settle the debt in full with the debtor, and what debtor is going to do, debtor is going to transfer the asset, or debtor is going to transfer the equity to settle the debt in full. This is the first scenario guys, and this we have already covered in the previous video. Okay, and today in this video I'm going to talk about the second form of the trouble debt restructuring, which is called continuation of the debt. Here the debtor is going to continue with the debt, but what the debtor is requesting the creditors, debtor is requesting the creditors to modify the terms of the loan. Okay guys, this is what we are going to talk about. Now, guys, what is included in the modification in the terms of the loan? Guys, there are mainly three changes in the terms of the loan. These changes are common. Like number one is what, maybe the creditor is going to reduce the amount of principal. Maybe the creditor is going to extend the maturity date. Previously, maybe the loan duration was 5 years. Maybe now creditor is going to extend for 7 years or 8 years. And the third, maybe the lowering the interest rate. Maybe the previous interest rate was 10%. Now maybe the creditor is going to grant a concession, and the new modified interest rate is going to be 7%. Or maybe there could be a forgiveness of accrued interest also. Now guys, here we have a few basic rules which you should understand. First, whenever we will do the accounting for debtor, because I will start from debtor accounting, for debtor guys, we will always use undiscounted cash flows. Okay, you don't need to calculate present values. Okay guys, but whenever we will do the accounting for creditors, what we will do, we need to use discounted cash flows. Discounted cash flows means that we need to calculate the present values of the new cash flows associated with the modified terms. Okay, and we know, as we know, whenever you want to calculate present values, you need a discount rate. And which discount rate guys we will use? We will use the original or historical contractual rate. For example, if the original rate was 10% and the new modified rate is 7%, to calculate the present values, guys, we will use the original contractual rate, which is 10%. Okay, guys, and I will show you how the accounting you will do for the creditors. So let's start first with the debtors accounting. Guys, here we have here, first of all, we have here two cases. Case number one is what I'm going to discuss from debtor point of view, guys. So case number one is what, when you are post restructuring undiscounted cash flows. Undiscounted cash flows means it could include amount of principal plus interest, and you don't need to calculate the present value. When post restructured and discounted cash flows are greater than or equal to carrying amount of the debt. You know, guys, in the debtor book, and I'm talking about from the debtor point of view, in the debtor books, this loan which you have taken is showing as a liability. Okay, and whatever the amount of liability is showing in the balance sheet, that is called carrying value of the loan. Okay, guys. So scenario number one is what, when the carrying amount of loan, for example, is $100,000. Okay, less from there you will subtract total undiscounted cash flows, and total undiscounted future cash flows will include the principal amount plus interest amount, new principal and new interest. Okay, Just compare these. Let's assume my carrying amount of the liability in my balance sheet, it is $100,000, but my total undiscounted future cash flows are $120,000. Now you can look at here, there is a 20,000 difference, and we are paying 20,000 extra. It means this is not a gain. This is not a gain. Even we should not say it is a loss. So what we will do with this 20,000, which we are going to pay extra, which we are going to pay extra, we will record as interest expense over the new terms of the loan from the restructuring date until the maturity date. And how you will do with it, I will show you. Don't you worry. So I'm going to deal with the case number one. Okay. Don't forget, whenever your post restructuring undiscounted cash flows are greater than or equal to carrying amount of the debt. So I'm going to deal with this scenario first, then I will deal other scenario. So here we go, guys. If our undiscounted future cash flows are greater than carrying value of debt, okay, so what you have to do, you have to remember these 3 points, guys. Point number one is what? So do not change the carrying amount of the debt. As a debtor, you will not touch the carrying amount of the debt at the time of restructuring. Okay, guys, this is the first thing, and I will show you how you will do it. Second one is what? You have to calculate the new effective interest rate. What is the effective interest rate? We have to calculate, and I will show you the calculation. By the way, we can use financial calculator to calculate this, but you have to calculate as a debtor, you have to calculate new effective interest rate, and the new effective interest rate will equate two sides of the equation. Which two sides of the equation? So we have to take the present value. The new effective interest rate will equate what? The present value of future cash payments. Okay, future cash payments will include principal and interest with the carrying amount of the debt. By the way, when you do the counting, you don't need to calculate present value. So, but to calculate the effective rate, so you need to equate this side of equation. I will show you. We can do this through the help of financial calculator. And guys, number three, prospectively, we will record the interest expense. As I told you, the excess amount which you are paying. So this excess amount you will record as an interest expense from restructuring date till the maturity dates. And this interest expense, how you will deal with it? So we will apply effective interest method. So what I was saying, let's put into the example and understand. Here we go, guys. Don't forget, we are dealing with the case when your undiscounted future cash flows are greater than carrying amount of the debt. So here we go. We will understand with the help of example. Guys, we have a CDL company. Corporation owes the Rita B Trust Company 1 million. This is the amount of loan, and here debtor is CDL is the debtor. Okay, guys, which represents the outstanding balance of 10 years. Normal original loan duration was 10 years. It was 7% rate of interest and 100,000 of accrued interest. So like it means the carrying amount of the debt. If you just want to say the carrying amount, so you have a principal amount of 1 million plus you have an interest of 100,000, 0.1 million. So total is 1.1 million. This is the carrying amount of the debt. Okay, guys. Now we have there certain modification in the terms, and which modification of terms are there? So CDL, I mean, so the debtor outstanding loan is 1 million plus 100,000 of accrued interest. I mean, so 1.1 million. The agreed upon terms of restructuring is this. So first term is what? The reduction in the face amount from 1 million to 950,000. This is the first thing. It means new principal amount is going to be 950,000. So there is a concession. Forgiveness of the 100,000 of accrued interest. This is the second concession. Okay, the lender, the creditor is going to waive off this interest. Third is what? Reduction of the interest rate from 7 to 5%, and interest rate is going to reduce from 7 to 5%. No extension of the maturity date of the loan, 5 years remaining. So here, because here in the question he told you we have a remaining 5 years, and the maturity total loan duration was 10 years, but that at the date of restructuring remaining years are 5 years. Okay, guys, so they're telling you these 5 years is not going to change, it is unchanged. Now guys, here what you need to do, first of all, you need to compare two things. Which two things? You need to compare the carrying value of debt and carrying value of debt, guys, it is 1.1 million, if you remember, because it includes principal amount of 1 million plus accrued interest. Now, guys, you have to compare with the less, or compare with what undiscounted future cash flows. And undiscounted future cash flows, there are two future cash flows. One is the new principal amount, which is 950,000 principal amount. And second is what is the interest. And how you will get the interest? You have to calculate interest for 5 years. Guys, simply you will take new amount of principal, which is 950,000. I'm calculating interest now. Okay, guys, times new interest rate is 5%. It is given here. New interest rate is 5%. So this will give you per annum interest, and per annum interest is going to be 47,500 per annum, multiply by for 5 years. So this total interest is going to be 237,500. So it means total undiscounted cash flows. If you want to make the total of undiscounted cash flows, so make the summation of these two amounts. So the summation of these two amount is going to be, I'm going to put here undiscounted total now, net value. So it is going to be 1,118,750. Okay, guys. Now you can look at here. Your undiscounted cash flows are greater than carrying value of debt. And how much is the difference? Difference is 87,500 is the difference. This 87,500, which we are paying extra, actually it is not again to the debtor, but this will be recorded as a interest expense, okay, over the remaining maturity period. Okay, guys, how you will deal with it? So let's have a look with the help of accounting entries now. Now, guys, at the date of restructuring, first what you need to do, so we will debit the loan payable with the 1 million principal amount. Why? Because we want to de-recognize the previous loan, old values. And we will debit the interest payable also with 100,000. Why? Because it was our liability. Now uh, uh, it is forgiven by the lender, so you have to remove it. And you will credit the new loan payable restructured. You will credit the new loan payable. Okay, and the new amount is how much? 1.1 million. Okay, and guys, don't be confused. Maybe you're thinking principal, new principal amount was 950,000, so why it is credited with the 1.1 million with the old carrying value? The reason is that, guys, just what we are going to do, we are going to reclassify the balances of pre-structured debt and interest payable into new account. Okay, because this values we need for future, and you will automatically see we will reach it to the 950,000. Okay, guys, just we have reclassified. Now, guys, we have to calculate effective rate. I told you first what we need to do. You need to reclassify. Okay, and now you have to calculate the effective interest rate. If you remember, guys, I told you in theoretical points previously, just I told you do not change the carrying amount of the debt, but just we have reclassified. If you are confused, let me show you here. I told you, so in this scenario, the point number one, do not change the carrying amount of the debt at the time of restructuring. So what we did, just we have reclassified, okay, into the new account. Now, guys, what we need to do, we need to calculate the new effective interest rate. And as I told you in the note above also, the new effective interest rate will be the interest rate which will equate the two side of the equation. Which two side? The carrying amount of the debt with the present value of future cash flows. Okay, guys. So it's better because we can use this way also to calculate it, but it's not the part of the exam. So it's simply we can use the financial calculators. Okay, and we will give the following inputs to the financial calculator to calculate the effective interest rate. And in the financial calculator, what we will do, we will put n 5 periods. Okay, and present values we will put 1.1 million. PMT we will put like annual interest we will put 747,500, and future value is 950,000, and you have to calculate the interest I. If you will give this input to the calculator, financial calculator, so you will get their effective interest rate. And what is the effective interest rate? Is going to be 1.68108. This effective interest rate we need. Okay, why we need? Because we are paying extra 87,500 as per new terms. Okay, so this we have to record as interest expense. And to calculate the interest expense, you need effective interest rate. Now guys, it will be more clear if I will show you the table now. Here we go guys. Please don't forget, after the 5 years, okay, so you have to repay actual principal amount 950,000, but today your debt is showing at 1.1 million. So what we have to do over the 5 years, we have to reduce this value to the 950,000. And how you will reduce it guys? So here we go, we will follow this format. Actually it's the effective interest method. So for guys, first we will write ES, then we have an annual cash payments. Then we have an interest expense at effective rate. Then we have a reduction in the carrying amount of the loan. And then you have a final carrying amount, I would say ending value. Guys, in year one, here in annual payments, we will record interest. You know, interest was 47,500 per annum. If you can go back per year, because new principal amount was 950,000 multiplied by new interest percentage. Okay, so it was 47,500. So I will put it here 47,500 multi. Now we have here effective interest expense at effective rate. And how you will get this interest expense guys? This interest expense, simply you need to take the beginning carrying value, which is 1.1 million, times interest, which is 1.68108. This will give you interest expense. Now guys, the difference of cash payment and, or you can say simply the difference of interest as per new percentage and as per effective percentage. Guys, the difference of these two will be treated as what? Reduction in the carrying amount. Reduction in the carrying amount. Now guys, what you have to do, this reduction in the carrying amount, we will take beginning carrying value minus reduction in the carrying amount, so you will get the ending carrying value. This ending carrying value will be, again guys, what you will do here, again in the next year you have a payment of 47,500, and now you need to calculate this interest value. And how you will get this value guys? You need beginning carrying value, which this value times interest rate, you will get this value. Okay guys, the difference of these two at effective rate and at the actual rate is called reduction in the carrying amount. Guys, again you will take this carrying amount minus what? This reduction, so you will get this carrying amount. Then guys, again next year you paid 47,500. Again I want to calculate this interest at effective rate. What I will do, I will take this value times interest rate, I will get this value. The difference of these two is called reduction in the carrying amount. And guys, next year my carrying amount will be this value minus this, so is equal to this value. Okay guys, so this process you will repeat over the 5 years. And once you will repeat over 5 years, what you will get? You will get 950,000, which is the new principal amount, okay, which you have decided at the time of restructuring, and this liability you will settle. Now maybe you're thinking what entries you will pass. What entries guys? So every year guys, we will pass this entry. So I'm going to use these three columns guys for the double entries. Okay, first I will credit the cash with this value. Okay, we will record the interest expense with this value, and we will record the liability debit with this value, because your liability is going to reduce. Okay, so here we go guys, what entries we will pass? I'm using these three columns, okay, for the double entry. So in the year one, what entry you will pass guys? You will debit the interest expense with 18,492. You can just check it from here. It is 18,492. Okay, and you will debit the loan payable, restructured loan with 29,000. It is with the reduction in the carrying value amount. This is the reduction in the carrying value. And guys, credit will be the cash with this value, because you are paying interest. Okay, or interest payable, you can credit it. Okay guys, so this is what is the entry. And in year two I will use year two data, in year three I will use year three data, in year four I will use year four data, and in year five I will use this data. In year five I'm going to show you entry for fifth year. Now guys, in the last year what entry you will pass? So what we will do guys, so we will debit first of all fifth year's data we will use now. Okay, in the fifth year guys, what entry you will pass? You will debit the interest expense, take from the fifth year data, debit the loan payable with the reduction in principal amount from the fifth year data, and credit the cash with 47,500. And guys, at the end of fifth year, if you remember, we have a loan liability in our books of accounts is 950,000. Now you need to settle, you need to repay. So what entry you will pass? You will debit the loan payable and credit the cash by 950,000. Guys, this was the first scenario. When which scenario we have dealt? if your undiscounted cash flows, future cash flows are greater than or equal to what? Equal to, guys, carrying value of debt. Okay. Now I'm going to show you another case for the debtor accounting, guys. And this scenario is what? Case number 2. If post restructured undiscounted cash flows are less than carrying amount of debt, like here, guys, for example, your carrying amount of payable, I mean, so the liability which is showing in the debtors book, 560,000 is new. And you have a total future cash flows, which includes principal amount and interest amount is 530,000. Now you can look at here. So our carrying value is more and our future cash flows are less, which we are going to pay. It means this is a gain on restructuring. And this 30,000 you will book again. So now, guys, let's have a look with the same example. Okay. Now in this scenario, guys, you should remember these points, 4 points. Number 1, in this scenario, we have to recognize the gain. Number 2, what? Number 2, we have to reduce the carrying amount of the debt to an amount equal to the total future undiscounted cash payments. Like simply, we have to reduce the carrying value of the debt, okay, to the new debt. Okay. Third is what? Cash payments, whatever like you are paying like interest payments under the term of debt will be accounted for as a reduction of carrying amount. There is no need to split the cash payment between interest and principal amount. No. Why? I will give you logic with the example, guys. You don't need to record interest and reduction in principal amount separate. No. Whatever payment you will make, you will record directly. You will reduce the amount of debt. Okay. And guys, here you will not record any interest expense. You will not record any interest expense. So here we go, guys. Let's have a look with the help of example. We have a same example, guys. Now we have here CDL Corporation owes Rita B Trust Company 1 million. This is the amount of principal, which represents outstanding balance of 10 years, 7% loan. Okay, this is 7% was the rate of interest. And accrued interest, we have a $100,000. The remaining terms of the loan is 5 years. CDL is experienced financial difficulties and they requested for trouble debt restructuring to modify the terms. The trust company agrees to modification of the terms associated with what? So CDL Corporation outstanding loan was 1 million and accrued interest was 100,000. So carrying value of loan was, guys, carrying value of loan was how much? 1.1 million. Okay, in the debtors book. So what are the new terms? Reduction of the face amount from 1 million to 700,000. Now it's changed. This is the principal amount is 700,000. New principal. Forgiveness of interest of 100,000. Reduction of interest rate from 7 to 5%. Like from 7 to 5% is the new interest rate. No extension of maturity dates. Now, guys, how you will deal with it, guys? So simply first point, as I told you, you have a gain. How much? How you will get the gain, guys? You have to take carrying value of debt, which is going to be 1.1 million. Okay. From there, you have to subtract undiscounted future cash flows. Undiscounted future cash flows. And there are two future cash flows, guys. There is the interest and principal. And the new principal amount is going to be $700,000. It's given here. And interest, how you will calculate, guys? Interest, the new principal amount, which is $700,000. Okay, multiply by new interest rate is 5%. This will give you per annum interest. Multiply by with 5 years. Just multiply with the 5 years. So you will get the new interest amount, which is going to be $175,000. In your total undiscounted cash flow is going to be $875,000. And you can look at it, there is a gain of 225,000. There is a gain. Why? Because your future cash flows are less. Okay, 225,000. And this gain, guys, you need to book and you need to reduce the carrying value of the debt. It means the carrying value of debt from 1.1 million you have to reduce to the 875,000. Okay, guys. Now, what entry you will pass, guys, at the date of restructuring? So first of all, you will debit the loan payable, remove the previous loan principal amount 1 million. You will debit the interest payable because it is forgiven by the lender. You will credit the loan payable new restructured, which is 875,000 because you are going to pay new amount 875. How you got 875? Because new principal amount is 700,000 plus you are going to pay interest for 5 years, which is 175,000. total is going to be 175,000. So you will credit with the new value, okay? And you will credit the gain. Gain is 225,000, and I have already shown you here, guys. Here, okay? So this is the entry, guys. You will pass. Then what you have to do, guys, later on, now look, your new carrying value of the debt is how much? 875. Later on, guys, you will not calculate any interest. You don't need to calculate whatever payment you will make, whatever payment you will make to settle this debt over the 5 years, guys. Every year what entry you will pass? You will debit what? Loan payable restructured, okay? And you will credit what? The cash. You will settle this way. You don't need to record principal and interest separately. No, you don't need to do it. Okay, guys. So here you have a note. You can go through note. Note is what? The new characterization of the subsequent payment as principal interest is not relevant because the total payment you have to make 875,000. So it doesn't matter it's interest or principal. So you have to just record debit loan, credit cash. You don't need to record any interest expense. I hope guys it is clear. Now I'm going to show you in the creditors books. Creditors, like in the books of lenders. Okay, what lender will do? Guys, lender has to calculate the impairment of the loan. Impairment of the loan. What is impairment? Of course, when lender is not going to recover full amount of the principal and interest, it means there is the impairment. And there is a probability that debtor will not be able to pay all amount, okay, principal and interest due in accordance with the original terms of the loan. Okay, it means as per original terms, the creditor is not going to receive 100% money. Okay, guys. So here, guys, how he will calculate the impairment. Impairment means it simply allows for credit loss, bad debts expense, you can say. So, guys, how you will calculate, guys? This is the formula you can apply. You can take carrying amount of the receivables, carrying amount. Oh, okay. You are taking carrying amount here. Let me use first carrying amount less discounted principal because you have to calculate the present value of the new principal discounted at original rate, original less discounted interest payments. Okay, I hope you know the idea about time value of money. Okay, so again, you have to calculate interest as per new terms, multiply by annuity factor at original rate, so you will get discounted interest payments. So if you will subtract, if you will take carrying value minus this, you will get impairment of credit loss. Guys, sometime here instead of carrying amount, I can use the principal amount also. Okay, then this answer, whatever I will get it here, because from principal, I will subtract present value, discounted principal. I will say from the original amount of loan, I will subtract discounted principal and discounted interest payment. So then I will get total. This is called total impairment loss. But here, if you are taking carrying value, so this will give you direct amount of the credit loss which you need to record. But if here you are using the old loan total value, so this will give you total credit loss. Total from the total credit loss, you have to subtract the credit loss which you have already recorded or previously recognized. Remaining you will record. What I'm saying, if you are not understanding, let's have a look with the help of example, guys. So because in my example, I'm going to use the first value as the total principal amount, old principal amount. So I will get the total credit loss. Okay, guys. So here we go, guys. For example, here we have a debtor gave a mortgage on its building to creditors. Okay, the principal amount of the creditor's mortgage receivable is 500,000 because in the creditor's books amount of receivable is 500 principal amount, and it has credited the related allowance for uncollectible amount is 200,000. Actually, this 200,000 is allowances for credit losses. It means in the books of creditors, he has booked receivables how much? We have a gross receivables how much? A 5 million. From gross receivables, it's a 5 million. Okay, minus what? Allowances. Allowances is $200,000. It means carrying value of receivables in the books of creditor is 4.8 million. This is carrying value. Okay. Now, guys, here the creditors agrees that the mortgage principal will be reduced from 4 million to from 5 million to 4 million. It's a reduction in principal. Its new principal is 4 million now, and the final maturity will be extended from 1 year to 5 years. And the third is what is the third concession? The interest rate will be reduced from 8% to 6%. and interest continues to be paid at year end. Okay, guys. Now, first of all, what I'm going to do, I have to calculate the amount of impairment. So, guys, simply take mortgage receivables. Don't forget we are doing accounting for creditors, and in the books of creditors, the gross amount of receivable was 500,000. I'm not using net here. You can use net, but I'm using gross. Okay, gross was 5 million, which is principal amount. And now you have to minus what? Discounted principal. And discounted principal, how you will calculate, guys? You have new principal amount of 4 million multiply by original interest rate was 8%. Original was 8%. I will go to 8%, and I will look for 5 years. Like simply I will go to present value of dollar one table. I will look at 8% for 5 years. I will find this present value factor there. Once I will multiply the principal with the present value factor, this is going to be the present value of principal, new principal. This is what we will place it. Okay. Then minus. You have to subtract present value of interest payments also. And how you will get the interest, guys? First calculate the interest. Take the new principal amounts, multiply by new interest rate. You will get interest per annum. Multiply by annuity factor. Again, look at the original rate, which is 8%. Take for 5 years. You have to take annuity factor for 5 years. So you will find this value in that table. Just multiply, you will get present value of interest, which is 958 to 50. Now, guys, if you have taken here principal amount minus this, you got impairment. So this is called your total impairment. If I will use a carrying value instead of 500, if I will use carrying value of receivable, so it will give me directly amount of impairment which I have to book now. But if I will use here principal, old principal, so I this will give me total credit loss. From this total credit loss, this is the total credit loss. I will subtract the credit loss which I have already booked, which is 200,000. So remaining the difference of this and this remaining, which is 1.119430 million. So this I have to book what entry? Debit credit loss expense and credit for allowances for credit losses. This is what, guys, you will book the entry. I hope, guys, it is clear, because you have reduced the value of receivables, further receivables. Okay, so guys, this is how you will do the accounting, and see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.